Hey guys, welcome back. Just want to do a video on the next stage of working on this wagon. I had wire wheeled all this rust out of here and then put that rust converter on this metal. I'll show you what I used. I think I showed it on the last video, but this is what I used. KBS rust converter in a spray can. So both sides are done. Obviously I got to come in and weld some holes in. So these bigger holes, I'm just going to cut out squares and weld in new pieces. These little tiny pinholes here, I'm just going to fill them in with some panel bonding adhesive, and that should be totally fine, because that stuff does not, what am I trying to say here? Moisture cannot penetrate through it, so that will hold just fine. If I just filled with this with regular Bondo, these little pinholes, which you can see how small they actually are. Look at the size of my index finger, the end of my index finger compared to the hole. They're not big. We're talking 1/8 inch holes. So a little bit of panel bonding adhesive in there is gonna be just fine. Like I said, I'm gonna smooth this whole channel in with panel bonding adhesive, but all the bigger areas I'm gonna weld in. Like right here, I think I'll probably just cut here and here and just take out this big rectangle piece right here and weld in a new piece. We'll weld in a piece here, I'll weld in a bigger piece here, one here. Somebody already did a welded repair here, which kind of sucks, and I'll probably fix that. But so what I'm going to work on now is welding the roof to this piece of sheet metal here. This glue is super strong, and I will show it to you once I take the screws out, but you are not going to be able to break them two apart. You would have to take an air chisel between these two to peel these apart. So some people had asked and said, I can't wait to see how strong this stuff is, and I don't really have a way to gauge or show you how strong it is other than all my strength trying to move it, and I can actually see these two moving together. It's not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to set up the tripod, and we're going to start tack welding this about every 3-4 inches apart. I need to cut this down first to the height of the roof. So what I'll probably do is right here, it's already down to the roof height. So I'm going to put a tack weld, couple inches, put a tack weld, couple inches, put a tack weld, just very slowly with the heat, so that the heat doesn't come down, travel down, and disturb the glue at all. The glue can take heat. It just can't take, you know, if I'm welding right here for a long period of time, it's going to break the glue down, because that's a huge amount of heat in one little area. So let me get the tripod set up, and we'll start tacking that down and go from there. Okay, so I'm going to start right here, and I tap this really lightly with my hammer just to get the metal real close to that edge. I don't want to hit it super hard and start buckling up the metal. Put my mask on here, and we're just going to start hitting it with a couple tacks here and there. And hopefully my welder's set in the right. I might be a little too high on the heat. Might have to get out of the car and adjust it. I might be able to reach over there, I'm not sure yet, but let me see what happens. No, it's actually okay. All right, so I put 5 tacks on that one. So I'm just gonna kind of come over here now. And also, I got my knife here. I'm kind of holding up on this metal a little bit. Try to get it to slide underneath it just a little bit, because we want to keep our window opening hole as close to the same size as we can. Okay, so basically that's how I'm going to do this. Now let's go over to here where the metal's sticking up kind of high. Right in this area, it's up about 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to take my cutoff wheel and we're going to cut it flush with the roof. Now I need to try to get this under there because this is actually hanging in compared to the old metal right here. This is in about 1/16 of an inch. So we got to get this to move over. I do have a flathead screwdriver here, a big one. Throw a tack right there while I have it where it needs to be. So basically that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep going up and down this until I have this welded solid. Now I'm going to keep taking breaks because I don't want to distort this out here and get this really wavy. So I'm going to do a little bit of tacks. Like I'll finish this up down to those tacks and then I'm going to wait a couple minutes. It's still 90 some degrees outside. So I'm kind of working a little bit, taking a break, working a little bit, taking a break. But what I'm going to do is just keep hitting these, taking my time until I get this solid welded. Once I do that, I'm gonna come back and we're gonna start making this curved one right here. This corner piece here, we need to cut this out a little bit and get this piece made and glued down. And then I wanna try to get the rest of this upper window all glued in today so I can finish welding it by tomorrow. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, now I've got this all welded all the way across. I'm gonna take my grinder. I'm gonna use my heavier wheel first, and then I'll switch to a flat disc. And this is another thing, you don't want to grind too much in one area because you're just going to heat the metal up a lot. So I'm just going to kind of go across it lightly. before I grind this edge here, I'm gonna have to take those screws out of there that are holding it in. And those screws can be reused. Now I could switch over to that other disc. Was bulging in a little bit, so I just lightly tapped it back out. Okay, so there we go. Now these are welded in. Those are just little pits in the weld themselves, which I'm not going to grind any farther because I want to leave this as strong as possible. Now when I feel this, it's barely ripply, just a tiny bit. Now it was a little bit ripply to start with because that was completely rotted away, but now it is super stiff and strong. It's not going anywhere. You can see I took all these screws out. This stuff is not going to move. So next I have one piece made right here. Well, not made, but I still have one piece that I can start bending this with. But I need to take my cutoff wheel first, and I want to cut in here and remove that piece of crappy metal and grind down here a little bit. So I'm going to do that off camera and get it ready for the next area. We're not going to do any more welding today because I need to glue, and the glue has to dry overnight. But we can make this patch here. We can make this patch in the corner here. Then we got one over here as well, and one in this corner. Then back here, one right here. That's it. So once we get all these patches made today and glued, Then I could start working on welding in those down there, the big ones on that. So let me get these areas prepped and cleaned, and then I'll come back. I'll probably go bend another piece of this metal, and I'll come back and we'll start making these pieces. Okay, I've cleaned out this area over here, and the more I was thinking about it is I probably could weld this. I mean, once I glue it and put the screws in it, I guess I really could weld it. So basically what I need to do now is make some more relief cuts in this so I can start bending it around the corner. This is going to be a little bit trickier because we really got to start bending it. We're probably gonna have to hammer this a little bit on the vise or something. Just trying to get the basic shape of it now, and then we can kind of round that radius. Okay, so basically this area here is straight up and down, but as it gets over here, this is actually less than a 90-degree bend. So I actually need to bend that back the other way. So let's go over to the vise and do a little hammering. Okay, so now we have this pretty much bent to the radius, but you see how we have like these square lines, how they're not bent perfectly round. Plus we need to make this less of a bend. I should have paid attention to that when I was bending this metal, but I didn't. So I need to see if I can get in here and pry it back some. I'm using a regular carpenter's hammer. I have my body hammers, I just don't have them out right now. But this will do the job. As you can see, I'm already starting to bend it at a different angle. You don't have to have fancy tools all the time. I could buy a shrinker stretcher, but I don't do a ton of this work. I might buy one in the future, but it's not something that a necessity that I have to have right now, because I know that I could do it the way I'm currently doing it. Okay, so I want to try to hammer these lines where I've creased it at to be more of an arch. And you can see how it's already starting to become an arch just by barely tapping on it. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking this and I'm applying pressure on it. So I'm giving it down force as I'm tapping this. And what I'm doing is I'm recreating that radius. I'm tightening it back up again. But if you look here, look at the difference now. How we have a nice arch. Before we had straight bend, straight bend, straight bend, straight bend, all the way around. Now we have a nice curved radius. So like I'm showing you here, you can do this stuff at home. You could do it on your concrete floor and a hammer and make a curve. With a carpenter hammer. You don't have to have body hammers. So let's go see how this fits now. It's probably not going to be perfect yet, but we'll get the basic idea here. Okay, so what I need to do right here, at this point here, I need to bend it downwards towards the car, because see how it's coming up in the air towards the end? So we need to physically bend that downwards, because that's the way the roof is bending. So we're just trying to mimic what we have there. And I might have to cut this and do it that way. Not sure yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to make a relief cut right here to bend that over. So let's go back in the car again. Okay, so see how this is sitting in here good, but right here we need to make a relief cut right there, and we don't need to make a pie cut. We just need to make a straight down cut. I want to try not to go through the whole thing if I don't have to. Might have to. I was kind of hoping not to break it into two pieces. Okay, I need to get this a little bit more of an arch. I'm just using my fingers. This is 16 gauge, it's a little tough. I need to cut this at an angle. This is very hard to record here, guys. I'm try to back it away a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to screw this in, and then we can always unscrew it to glue it. So that'll get me more in the ballpark of where I need to be with this. So I'm going to butt it up to the other metal. This one's shot. Kind of hoping I can reuse some of these. Usually you can. Okay, I moved the camera to a different spot, so it's hopefully not as much in my way. And I'm using the original metal of the car to get my arch. Nope, I broke it. That I broke 2 of them, but I'll tell you what, that's in a perfect spot. These 2 pieces of metal are perfectly flush. So that is this piece right here, and you can see how I'm a little bit away right there. But I can get it right over. So that's that piece. Now I got to make this corner piece here. Man, is it hot. I literally am just dripping sweat. So we have this corner piece here. So we're going to have a real harsh bend on it. And the bend's going to be right about here. So I'm going to have to make a real big pie cut on this one. A little warm. It's got to go even more. I'm going to go over to the vise. I'm not going to bring the camera with me, and I'm going to get this bent and try to make this radius a little bit, and then I'll be right back. Okay, let's throw a screw in this. I made a few relief cuts in it. This corner right here, I'll have to weld up. Probably have to get a new battery for my drill. It's dying. Okay, so we pretty much have that one made. I just need to make one here now, and then in those other 2 corners. So I'm gonna do this exact same method on the other side, then I'll come back and show you all the patches, Then we'll get them glued in, and then we can work on cutting and welding them on the top. Okay, I've got all my patches made. So now I need to unscrew these, make sure that I have them roughed up with 36 grit on the backside, and then this side I need to put weld through primer on. So I'm going to do all that off camera, and then I'm going to come back and we are going to glue these in. Then I'm going to let these set for a couple hours while I go cut the grass. After I get done cutting the grass, I'm going to come back and I'm going to start welding these tops in. So then basically tonight, everything's welded in up here. Can't take the screws out till tomorrow, which is fine. A couple little tiny pits right there, which are just going to get glued in. So let me get these apart, get them prepped, and I'll come back and we'll glue them in. Okay, I'm just going to start working my way around, getting these patches glued in there. I got them all ground, weld through primer on the back side and everything. Just doing exactly what I did last time. Gluing both surfaces, spreading them out with my finger to make sure all the bare metal's covered. Then we'll screw them in place. And then, like I said, I'm gonna go cut the grass for a couple hours. When I get done, I'll get these welded up tonight. Tomorrow, start doing body work on these while getting those other areas welded up. Or whatever, I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but. Kind of nice putting the screws in ahead of time. What was I gonna say? I don't remember. Yep, I'm just gonna keep working my way around. I don't think down there those windows are gonna be as bad because I just need to plate the one side for the most part. I don't need to make like an L channel, an L piece. So I think that's gonna make it a lot easier to fix those holes down there. Oh, this tube's out. They'll open a new tube. Go figure. Looks like I got enough for this one. I put little cut marks in the metal so I knew where to line these up, so I didn't have to try to search for the holes where the screws go. Okay, I'm gonna go get that new tube of glue. Okay, let's get this tube switched over. You can buy these guns even on Amazon now. They're about $100. I actually have two of them because I keep one for seam sealer and then one for the glue. And these go in a certain way. One plunger's bigger than the other side. And that slips in just like that. And now we can continue on with this one right here. This stuff smells funny. I got to get more tips. But see how everything's completely coated with glue? That's one of the most important things, is to make sure you have full bare metal is fully covered. Because if you don't, it's just going to start rusting. especially after you grind it with 36 grit. Okay, we only have 2-3 pieces left. For not really being able to work on it too much because it's just been so damn hot, it really is going pretty quick. I'd really like to get this thing painted by the end of next week, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to rush it either, but I would think I should be pretty close. Plus, I'm getting the paint for the dually this week. I think next weekend is 4th of July weekend. I have some time. I think I want to start painting the dually parts too. The bed, the tailgate, the wheel flares, and the tonneau cover. Because once that leaves, then I can start on that back building the rest of the way. Get that thing wrapped up. At least the one bay, so I'll have more room to work. Okay, this is the first piece, and it goes right there. It's going to be nice. And then I might actually build another bay up here in the front. I'm pretty sure I'm going to. So then I'll have 2 bays for body work and then an assembly area, which should be more than I'll ever need. Like I said, I really want to start flipping my own cars, buying and selling them. Now is not really the time because it seems like car prices have really gone down lately. So now is definitely probably not the smart time. Maybe in a year or two would be better. But I'll need the room because I plan on doing more than one at a time. You know, I'll probably be doing something for somebody plus one of my cars. And I'm going to obviously put this panel binding adhesive on before I paint in all these jams to smooth over everything, and then I'll paint over top of it. Or maybe I should do it the opposite way. I'll have to think about that because I don't know if the paint will stick once this is cured to it. So maybe I should do it after I paint. Of course, I ripped my glove again. I got to get my thicker gloves out for this. Okay, I'm going to let this stuff set for a while. I'll come back later and we'll continue this video and start welding this up. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and call this video for tonight. I'll pick it back up tomorrow, a new video. I'll probably get all this welded in tomorrow morning and then show you what it looks like. And then tomorrow I want to get these welded in, so I'll show you how I'm going to do a few of these, and then I'll do the rest off the camera. And once these are all fixed in these 2 back window areas, I just need to cut out that bottom of the quarter down there and fix that, and then it'll be ready for body work. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be real close. The whole top should be done, and I should be working on that bottom corner. So come Monday, I should be ready to start doing body work on it. Oh, you know what? I'm going to check the color. I never even opened this up to see what the color looks like compared to what's on the car. This is a Nason paint. It's made by DuPont. I've used this many a times. It's actually a really good paint. I don't have any issues with it. I mean, it looks close. Just do a dot up here. We'll leave that on overnight and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. Obviously it looks a little dark now, but it should dry a little lighter. So, all right, guys, that's going to end this video. If you guys are interested in seeing the rest of this thing come together and get painted, please watch, hit the like button, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you guys tomorrow.